What's up guys, this is Marcus from Pro Tools Expert, and today we're going to be having a look at the Dynamics plugin from Blue Cat. So the Dynamics plugin is a plugin that allows you to take control of your dynamics, and it does it in a little bit of a different way than we might be used to. So to start off with here, I thought we'd have a really quick overview of the GUI. So in the very top left here, we have the ability to show and hide all these different options. I can adjust the opacity here, and I can basically decide what type of view I want to have for this plugin and have a look at all the information that I want to see. And directly below that, let's just return this back to its factory default. So directly below that here, we've got an input stage. So this is pre-gain. So this is anything that's happening before the plugin. So for instance, if I was working with lower level audio, I could go ahead and give myself a little bit more volume to work with before it hits the plugin here. Or conversely, if I was working with something that was pretty hot, I could just dial this back a bit. Or if I wanted to give myself a little bit more headroom. Now directly below that, we've got the ability to do a low cut and a high cut, so we can kind of shape the low end and the high end as it's coming into the plugin. Then we've got some sidechain options here. And when we have it set to internal here, of course, we can dial up our low cut, so meaning that anything below, let's say 274 Hertz is not going to be affecting the compression. So we won't have any compression that's being triggered from the low end. Okay, so next up after that, we've got some an advanced tab here. So we've got the ability to go from oversampling. We can choose 2 times or 4 times or select none. And then we've got some stereo and mid-side options. Then we've got a graphic display here in terms of what's happening with our curves. And then we've got some information that's happening in real time with the audio as it's passing through. So we've got 2 different curves here that we can apply. And in this particular case, I'm going to be using the upper curve to do some gentle compression. And then we're going to do some upward compression with lower curve on some of the lower level detail stuff, like this right over here. Okay, after that, we've got a gain reduction meter. And then of course, I've got some different options to see different types of gain reduction options over here. And then I've got my output makeup gain. And we've got a compensate option here as well. So I'm just going to deselect this for now. Then we can do a dry wet blend. So here we're listening to 100% wet, but if we wanted to do some, drastic dynamics processing, we could dial in a blend between the dry and wet signal. So we have the option to do that. And then lastly, we've got a limiter here, and I can choose between hard and soft, or a blend between the two, and I can adjust the release. And then at the very last stage, we've got a post gain. So we can either trim this back or we can raise it up after we're done with all of our dynamics processing. Okay, so enough talking. Let's pass some audio through here and see how it sounds. Maybe we'll start from somewhere about here. So I think the first thing I'm going to do here is let's dial this back a bit. And then I guess I'll make a decision here. So I'm probably just going to move this up a little bit. So we've got some upright bass happening. So let's just say everything below around there, we're not going to touch with the compressor. And now what I'm going to start doing is making adjustments to my upper curve, and then we'll move to the lower curve as well. So bring my threshold down, bring a ratio up. Then we can adjust the knee here. Give some makeup gain. Do a bypass. So you can see the compression that's happening here in the pink. So if I was to dial up this right now, pull our ratio down, you can see all the compression that's happening here. That's obviously just exaggerated for the sake of demonstration. Pull that back up. Now we can also choose between peak and an RMS mode here. So what I can do is if I want to just dial in RMS, I can just bring that all the way over to the right. If I wanted to keep it to peak, all the way to the left, or perhaps just a blend in between the two of them. And then we've also got the option to blend between VCA and Opto. So what I'm going to do here is let's just exaggerate this. I'm going to pull the threshold down, we'll pull our ratio up, And let's start off with VCA here. Give ourselves some more makeup gain. That's obviously a lot of compression, but we're just going to try to hear the characteristics here. This would be the opto mode. And again, peak or RMS. So maybe we'll try a blend between the two. And then we can also adjust the RMS in terms of the attack as well. Okay, so maybe what I'll do here is I'll open up the attack a bit and we'll adjust our release, get some settings that are working here. Okay, and now I want to have a look at the lower curve here. So in this case, let's use the lower curve to get some upward compression happening here on the lower part of this bass solo. So the first thing I'm going to do is just dial in a ratio here. Then we can adjust our threshold. And you'll notice here that we now have these green lines that are happening here, which is representing the gain increasing, or the upwards compression that's happening there. So I'm going to play that again, and I'm going to actually bring up the ratio so we can almost amplify that. Then we can adjust the knee for that one as well. So we've now got two curves happening here. So we're really kind of just taking control of the dynamics. So on the louder stuff, got some compression happening there, and then as it comes down to the quieter stuff, you notice here that it's doing a bit of upward compression there. So anyways, that's the Dynamics plugin from Blue Cat Audio. And at the time of this video that I'm doing, it's actually available in our deals section. Anyways, I hope you guys got something from this, and we'll talk to you later. Cheers.